My sister took my $20,000 Rolex without permission. I caught her on video. When I confronted her, my entire family sided with her and labeled me cruel. But then my grandpa, a war veteran, showed up with a gasoline can. His next action sent them into a state of panic and left me utterly stunned. Hey, Reddit time. They say time heals all wounds, but in my family, it revealed them. I'm Alyssa, and I discovered that it's often not strangers who hurt you the most. It's those sitting right across from you at dinner. The story starts 3 months ago when I finally purchased something I had dreamed of for years, a $20,000 Rolex. It wasn't about showing off. It was my way of celebrating 5 years of hard work. The late nights, the deadlines, and the countless sacrifices. This was a gift to myself. But that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. It happened on a quiet Sunday morning. I woke up, got ready for work, and went to put on my watch. But the box was empty. At first, I thought I might have misplaced it. I rummaged through drawers, checked the safe, even looked inside the laundry basket. Nothing. That's when a sinking feeling hit me. The night before, my sister Chloe had come over. She was always complicated, beautiful, charming, but careless, the type who borrowed money and forgot to pay it back. She had visited that night, claiming she just wanted to catch up. But now, the thought gnawed at me. What if she wasn't just here to visit? I decided to check the security footage from my living room camera. There it was, my sister sneaking into my room after I had gone to bed, opening my jewelry box, taking the Rolex, and walking out with a smile. My hands trembled as I replayed it repeatedly. She didn't even pause. I drove straight to my parents' house. When I walked in, everyone was at the breakfast table, laughing and chatting as if nothing had happened. "Chloe," I said sharply, holding up my phone. "You took my watch." The room fell silent. Mom looked shocked. Dad frowned. Chloe froze. Then she laughed. "What are you talking about?" I hit play on the video. Everyone watched in disbelief as the truth appeared on the screen. Gasps. Silence. Mom's first words were, "Alyssa, how could you record your own sister like that?" I blinked. "Excuse me?" "She stole from me." Dad sighed, rubbing his temples. "It's just a watch, honey. She probably needed money. You make enough to buy another one." I couldn't believe it. "You're defending her." Chloe crossed her arms. "You're being heartless, Alyssa. It's just a thing. Family is more important." My voice quivered. "No, Chloe. Respect is more important." That night, I went home shaking, not just because of the theft, but because of the betrayal. I blocked their calls and didn't speak to them for days until Grandpa called. Now, Grandpa wasn't like the others. He was a war veteran, a man who valued discipline, loyalty, and justice. He didn't say much on the phone. "Just come to the house this Sunday. I'll take care of it." I didn't know what he meant, but I trusted him. When Sunday arrived, I walked into the backyard and saw my whole family gathered, my parents, Chloe, even my uncles. Grandpa stood near the shed, his posture as straight as ever. But beside him was something unexpected, a gasoline can. Everyone noticed it. Chloe looked uneasy. "Dad," my mom said nervously, "what's that for?" Grandpa didn't answer. He simply said, "We're going to solve this family issue my way." He turned to me. "Alyssa, where's the box that held your watch?" I handed it to him. Then, to everyone's shock, he poured gasoline over it. "Dad, what are you doing?" my father shouted. Grandpa's voice was steady. "Teaching all of you a lesson." He lit a match and dropped it. The flames roared. Everyone gasped and stepped back. The watch box ignited instantly, the fire reflecting in Grandpa's steel-gray eyes. Then he looked at Chloe. "Tell them what you did." She appeared terrified. I don't know what you mean." He slammed his cane down. "Tell them before I start burning what's left of my patience." She broke down, tears streaming down her face. "Okay, I took it. I wanted cash." Mom gasped, and Dad looked horrified. Grandpa didn't even flinch. He simply asked, "And what did you buy?" Chloe sobbed. "A designer bag. I thought I'd replace the watch before she noticed." Grandpa's voice boomed. You sold your sister's honesty for leather and gold, and the rest of you defended her." Everyone fell silent. Then he slowly reached into his coat pocket and pulled something out. "My Rolex." I gasped. "Grandpa, how?" He smiled faintly. "I bought it back from the pawn shop the day after she sold it. I wanted to see if anyone in this family still remembered what's right." Tears filled my eyes as he handed it to me gently. "This doesn't just tell time, Alyssa. It shows you who values it and who squanders it." He turned to my parents. "You both owe this girl an apology." They did so quietly, with tears in their eyes. For the first time in years, my father hugged me and whispered, "I'm sorry. You were right." But Grandpa wasn't finished. He faced Chloe and said, "You're not getting punished today. You're getting reminded. Tomorrow morning, you'll work with me at the Veteran Center. 5 a.m. sharp. No excuses." She nodded, crying even harder. Then he said something I'll never forget. "Family doesn't mean covering up lies. It means having the courage to tell the truth, no matter how much it hurts." That night, as the last embers of the fire faded, I stood next to him. "Grandpa," I said softly, "you scared them half to death." He chuckled. "Good. Fear fades, but lessons last." But the story didn't end there. A few weeks later, Grandpa's lesson came full circle in a way that shocked me even more. When I found a sealed envelope he'd left behind, titled "For Alyssa, the Second Hand of Time," I realized Grandpa's plan was bigger than anyone imagined. It's been 3 months since that night, the night Grandpa made everyone face the truth. My family changed after that, at least on the surface. Chloe began helping Grandpa at the Veteran Center every morning, just as he instructed. She'd come home exhausted but quieter, humbled. My parents also became different. The tension during family dinners was replaced by awkward silence, but at least it wasn't denial anymore. And Grandpa seemed content, like a man who'd accomplished what he set out to do. But I should have known he wasn't done teaching us yet. One morning, a few weeks later, I received a call from my mom. Her voice was shaky. "Alyssa, it's Grandpa. He's in the hospital." My heart sank. I rushed there as fast as I could. When I walked into his room, he was awake, pale, but still wearing that calm, steady expression that always reassured me. He smiled faintly. "You always show up on time, just like that watch." I laughed weakly through tears. "You're not allowed to joke right now." He reached for my hand. His grip was weaker than before, but his eyes were full of life. "I have one last thing for you," he said, pointing to a small wooden box on his bedside table. "Take it home. Open it after I'm gone. Promise me." I shook my head, crying. "Don't talk like that." He smiled gently. "Time doesn't stop for anyone, sweetheart. But what we do with it, that's what matters." 3 days later, he passed away peacefully in his sleep. The funeral was small, just family and a few veterans who had served alongside him. Everyone cried, but when it was over and the house fell silent, I finally remembered the box. It was sitting right where he'd left it, small, simple, locked with a tiny key taped underneath. Inside, there were 2 items, a letter and something wrapped in cloth. My hands trembled as I unfolded the letter. "My dear Alyssa, if you're reading this, then I've already taken my final march. Don't cry for too long. Remember, a soldier's duty is to ensure that those who remain know how to fight the right battles. You've already learned to stand up for truth. But there's one lesson left: forgiveness. This watch wasn't meant to divide your family. It was meant to remind you that time is priceless, and it runs out for all of us. Inside the cloth is my own watch, the one that survived the war with me. It doesn't tick anymore, but neither does hate. Once you let it go, give it to your sister when you're ready. Not because she deserves it, but because you deserve peace. Love always, Grandpa." I unwrapped the cloth slowly. Inside was an old, battered military watch. The glass was cracked, the hands frozen at 417. The time I later learned his unit was ambushed in battle. It wasn't just a watch. It was a memory captured in courage. I sat there holding it, crying quietly, realizing what he meant. Time had stopped for him that day, but his lessons hadn't. A week later, I went to see Chloe. She was wiping tables at the Veteran Center, her hair tied up, a little paint stain on her sleeve. She looked up, surprised. "Alyssa, hey." I smiled. "Can we talk?" We sat outside, on a bench. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then I placed the old watch in her hands. Her eyes widened. "Grandpa's watch." I nodded. "He wanted you to have it." Tears filled her eyes instantly. "I don't deserve this." "You're right," I said softly. "But neither did I deserve what happened. Yet here we are, still family." She broke down crying, clutching the watch to her chest. "I miss him." I smiled through tears. "He's not gone. He's in this. Every tick, every second we choose to be better." From that day on, something changed between us. We began talking again, slowly and cautiously, like two people rebuilding a broken bridge plank by plank. Mom and Dad also started helping at the Veteran Center, inspired by Grandpa's legacy. Each week, we'd meet there, and I'd see families coming in, some arguing, some laughing, and I realized every family is a battlefield. But the brave ones fight for peace, not power. One evening while closing up the center, Chloe looked at me and asked, "Do you think Grandpa's proud of us?" I smiled. "No, I know he is." For the first time in years, there was laughter again, real laughter in our home. And I finally understood Grandpa's last lesson. He wasn't trying to scare us with fire that day. He was trying to burn away the lies that were tearing us apart. Now, every time I glance at my Rolex, I also see his old watch on our mantle, frozen in time. One still ticks forward. The other reminds me of where I came from. Together, they tell one story, his story, our story. And every time I hear that faint ticking sound, I whisper the same words he told me that day in the hospital. Time doesn't stop for anyone. But love, real love, never runs out. He didn't leave behind a fortune. He left behind a lesson that's worth more than any Rolex.